Hi, I'm Sandy Sauter at the Culinary Institute of America. Today I'm going to make for you some mini empanadas with chicken and tomatoes, featuring Nature's Sweet Glory's tomatoes. So the first thing I want to do to make these empanadas is get started on the filling. So I have some diced onion here and some minced up jalapeno. With my saute pan, I'm just going to add a little bit of oil, not a whole lot, because all I want to do is sweat these onions and these jalapenos. So I'll add my onions to the pan. We don't want the heat too high. We're not trying to get a lot of color on the onions. We just want to get them to soften. The jalapenos in there as well. One thing you can do to help along this process of softening these onions and jalapenos is add a little bit of salt. It'll also help your seasoning process for later to have a nice flavorful filling. But the salt will draw the moisture out of the onions and the jalapenos and make them soften a little bit easier. Might as well do some pepper too. All right, now that I've got the onions and the jalapenos to soften a little bit, I sweat out all that extra moisture, I'm going to now add my tomatoes and my chili powder to it. Tomatoes have just been chopped up roughly, so that they can mimic what the shredded chicken is going to look like. So I've got the tomatoes and the chili powder in here now. I'm going to cook it now until it's thickened up a little bit and all the flavors have melted together. Okay, now our filling is cooked down. You can see it's nice and thick, and it's going to work out really well for us here. I'm going to add some shredded chicken as well. This can be leftover chicken that you had yesterday. Maybe you got the rotisserie chicken from the grocery store and you can just shred off the meat from that. Or you can have fresh chicken that you cook off for this as well. Some jack cheese and some cilantro as well. I'm just going to mix them together and then allow them to cool so that we don't warm up our pastry too much. I have some store-bought pie dough here. You can make your own or buy it from the store, whatever makes you happy, right? You just want to unroll it and take a look at it and see if it's the right size for you, the right thickness, and you can always change that. I have a cutter here that I'm going to use to make a couple of cuts, and it looks like I can get at least 2 pieces out of here. I could probably get some more. If you don't have one of these cutters out of the cutter set, don't worry about it. You can still do this at home. Just find an appropriate size bowl or some other type of circle that you can use. And if you lay it over your dough, you can just take a knife or a pizza wheel and cut right around, and you'll get the same product. So now I'm going to take these individual discs, and I'm just going to roll them out a little bit bigger and also so that they're a little bit thinner, so that they'll make nice size mini empanadas. You want to take a little bit of your filling, not too much. If you overfill them, they'll burst. Place it right in the center of your empanada. And then we'll take an egg wash, which is just egg beaten with a little bit of water, and a nice little pastry brush, and just get the edges so that they'll glue together when we close it up. Now for the fun part. Just fold it over into a half moon. From here, what I'm going to do is feel where my filling is and start from the filling and then push out towards the edges. What I want to make sure is that I don't have big air bubbles in there. As the air expands in the oven, it'll create it to fall apart on you. That looks good, but you may be thinking it's not very crimped closed yet. You're right. I'm going to use a fork to do that, and it also makes it look prettier. If you wanted to make these ahead of time, you certainly could, Make them today, cook them tomorrow, keep them in the refrigerator overnight. Or if you wanted to make them further ahead of time, you could freeze them just like this before you do the egg wash. And then when you're ready to bake them, you can egg wash them. All right, our empanadas are ready to go in the oven. We're going to put them in there at 400 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes. Look at that. Those look gorgeous. Don't want to forget what was in there, so we just do a little bit of representation of ingredients here as a garnish. It's a little tomato, a little cilantro. So there's our mini chicken and Nature's Sweet Glories tomatoes empanadas. Enjoy.